Hey, Cactus crew. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you're new here, hi, welcome. Hope you stick around. In this video, I'm just going to be reading another one of Without a Crystal Ball's old articles. This one is from July 24, 2017, titled, I'm an Autism Mum. 5 Things You Need to Know About My Journey. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Help me by sharing it. Comment below, let me know what you think. And please do consider subscribing. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook at It's Crystal Bill. Everything is my own opinion as someone who's been on this carousel from hell for 5 years. Make sure you check out the playlist. It will be linked in the description and in the pinned comment below. Let's get into it. I'm an autism mum. 5 things you need to know about my journey. July 24, 2017 by Katie Paulson. I'm about to talk about something that is going to probably upset people, and for that, I want to apologize ahead of time. This isn't meant to cause any harm to anyone, except your son. However, there are a few things I want to clear up as I've been thrown into the world of becoming a parent of an autistic child. My son is almost 5 years old, and while our diagnosis is relatively new, he has been autistic since as long as I can remember. My experience in his world and with his autistic brain has been since he was born. Since he was born, we have fought so hard to reach every single milestone. We have had to teach him to do everything that a neurotypical child does naturally. Katie, you don't know what a neurotypical child does. You don't have anything to compare it to because you don't have a neurotypical child. This is our truth, and not meant to drive you to pity him or our family. He is a smart, intelligent, vibrant, and sweet child. Despite everything he faces, both medically and developmentally, he has the most incredible spirit. I see a fierce desire to live and thrive in his spirit, and in many other spirits that I down from my wet bar in the basement. I've had the very unique experience of not only being a mother to an autistic child, but I'm also a parent of a child that is medically fragile. My son has a very complex history, and at this point, we've not been given a primary diagnosis to explain all the diseases. Ding-a-ding-ding! Yes, you have, but you are tiptoeing around doing everything to avoid the umbrella diagnosis of fetal alcohol syndrome disorders. That's where your son fits, Katie. But you don't want to admit it because you are still in denial about how your substance abuse affects your child. We are searching for our umbrella diagnosis, but we take it day by day with his health. Most of my time parenting has been to help him live, to treat the diseases that complicate his well-being, and to educate and advocate for him. When I was given the new hat of E.T. Quotefinger's autism mum, my perspective was really different than a lot of other parents that are in the autism community. This isn't right or wrong, but it is a different angle since we have to care for his life-threatening conditions and autism. I realized because my perspective is unique, I wanted to share a few things. I want you to know about me as a parent of a medically fragile child that is also autistic. That sentence doesn't make sense because you don't know how to write because you don't know anything about autism. You are taking what you believe to be traits of autism and you are applying them to your son, or the coping mechanisms, the sensory bin, the crash pads. But you don't know what your son needs because it's never been about your son. It's always about what Katie's needs are as an autism mum. Number 1, I do not want a cure for autism. Yes, autism absolutely has complicated his life. No, you have complicated his life by avoiding getting the fetal alcohol syndrome diagnosis. You don't know what specific support, you don't know what specific therapy because you are running from this specific diagnosis. So don't beat around the fucking bush and feed me bulldang. Yes, autism absolutely has complicated his life, but his life is also full of beauty and amazing wonder I have ever witnessed. The way that he sees the world, hears the world, touches the world, and experiences the human experience has taught me so much about the enjoyment and the stress of everyday life. Wow, if there was a sentence that summed up your confusion, your inability to understand autistic children, that's it there. That is a load of shit. What the hell am I reading? Some people will say that because I don't want a cure, I must have a child that is high functioning. This isn't the case at all. My son is on the spectrum, period. He has areas he absolutely excels in and areas where he struggles. That's generic for everyone on the spectrum. I actually believe that he is uniquely who he is because of autism. That's what being on the spectrum is. Your needs are specific to you. You meet one person with autism, you only meet one person with autism. It's not the same. So what are you trying to say? Nothing. His neurotype cannot be changed. Neither can yours. And I will not practice any experimental procedures or medicines to change his neurological makeup. You won't even try CBD oil that could help him open up pathways that are closed in his brain. 2, I don't want to be a martyr. I have to deal with a lot to be his mummy, and it's also he has to deal with a lot with you as his mum. His mum has an issue with substance abuse and has never got clean for 12 years. The damage you have done to your son. I have to deal with a lot to be his mummy, and it's also a part of parenting a child. This is your first child. You don't have any experience in parenting a child. Many people will tell me that my strength is beyond their comprehension. When we explain his diagnosis and his life, we are applauded for our care for him. I bet you are, because it's all bullshit. I do appreciate that people recognize that we are working hard for our child, but I don't want to be a martyr because I'm caring for my son. Any parent that would be faced with our situation would take the steps they need to make sure their child has the best possible life. When you are put in this position, you have to dig deep and find a way to muster through the struggles. There are days I cry, I'm frustrated, and days I feel very alone. You can absolutely tell me I'm a great mum, but I'd rather you say it was because he was happy, polite, and a sweet child. 3, I feel very alone. I'm sure your son feels very alone because you've isolated him. This is Katie's pity party story. It isn't that my son is medically fragile or has autism that makes me feel alone, but rather how these particular issues do impact our lives. We have to keep him safe and away from illnesses. Then why is he laying in your bed when you have MRSA? And we have to ensure his sensory levels are not so out whack that he meltdowns. And that doesn't make sense. You don't care. Also, your husband yells at your son constantly. None of this is a burden to me because my number one priority in my life, my ministry, and my focus is on his development and his health. I miss out on a lot of things that happen in the world. We miss play dates. We don't go to events that a lot of families do. And we cancel a lot of plans because our lives are very unpredictable. It's hard to have friends and nurture relationships when I'm doing everything for my son's development and safety. No, you're not. Why won't you go and get sober? That's the biggest issue. My ability to be there for people has depleted, and my ability to relate to people not in my world has decreased. While I crave social interaction and friendship, it is incredibly hard in this season for me. Number 4, autism is not a death sentence. This is you. This is not about your son. I read a lot of misinformation out in the world about autism, and I admit before his diagnosis, I was very uninformed about the spectrum. Some organizations claim to support the autistic community that put out media that put fear into people. Autism is not a death sentence. Yes, there are struggles with people who are autistic. However, there is a lot of information out there that demonstrates that many adults living on the spectrum can live healthy and happy lives. Not all adult autistics will need to live in a group home or with family. That's what the spectrum is, Katie. It's a spectrum. There are thousands out there in the world that are making amazing, meaningful contributions to the world. Even if they need support in life, they can still become productive and happy adults. Yes, autism is listed as a disability in the United States, but there are millions of people living with disabilities every day that are doing amazing things. Instead of being scared about autism, I encourage you to learn about autism here. Oh my God, you need to learn. No one else needs to learn. You need to learn. 5, I talk about autism a lot. You sure fucking do. And you are so confused. You will see my Facebook and social media flooded with articles about autism. You will see links to videos, articles, books, and blogs about autism. My life is 100% entrenched in being a parent that learns as much as I can to help my child. No, that's bullshit. I need to read, learn, and advocate for him. Yeah, you need, but you don't. This means it is often the first thing on my mind and the only thing I think of most. This isn't because I want attention or accolades. Yes, it is. But it's because the only way to make a change in this world is by using our voice. If you want to see change, you have to be the change. I want my son to live in a world where there is less stigma regarding autism, and I want to feel proud that he is different, but he is not less than anyone else. I want to change the way we talk about autism, see autism, and how the world sees autism. My child has the same dreams as any other child, and I desperately want him to fulfill his dreams. I will talk about autism until everyone in this world knows there is nothing to fear. I encourage other mums in this community to step forward and use their voice too. Katie, you look like the biggest fool writing this because it's obvious you don't know what you're talking about. It's just absolutely ridiculous. You're an autism mum, but I've learnt nothing from this article. A lot of words, not a lot of information. And that's what you are because all you do is parrot. You are a performer. You are a narcissist. This is a role for you. There's no connection to your child. And this fucking article proves it. If I can impress on anyone reading this today, if I can impress, maybe it should have said, if I can leave a lasting impression on anyone reading this today, it is that autism is a neurological condition that is lifelong. Dude, we fucking know. However, it is not a disease. No one said it is. It is simply the way an adult or child processes the world and sees the world. It's how our brain developed, you idiot. Every single person that is autistic has gifts. They all have areas where they struggle. That's what the spectrum is. They are not monsters. You are the monster. You are the one with the biggest issue that is still affecting your child inside the womb and outside the womb for the past 12 years. At best, they are misunderstood, and they need those of us in the neurotypical world to stop trying to change them. We as parents can certainly help them have the best life possible. I encourage all parents to focus their time and energy on loving their child for who they are and finding ways to help them have a happy life. You can't focus on anything else besides feeding your addiction, feeding your substance abuse. We've seen that, Katie. You can't even focus on your child. You're not even interested. In the end, all that matters is how we love, how we treat others, and the grace we extend to anyone struggling. Please try not to judge another parent. We don't need judgment. We need love. Oh no, you need judgment. You need to be judged. This whole article is you judging other parents. But you don't know anything about your child. His primary diagnosis, Katie, is fetal alcohol syndrome.